welcome to week 9 of Knowing the Word, Knowing Jesus. And today we are in the week where we're finishing the the Gospel of Luke. And today we're going to be talking about a passage that for many of you, maybe if you grew up in church, is known. And if not, you probably have heard about it. Is the passage of Jesus encountering Zacchaeus. And so I have called Encounters That Transforms Lives. And so this Encounters That Transforms is not just an encounter with any person, but the encounters with Jesus Christ. And the good news of that we have the chance to encounter Jesus Christ ourselves is so encouraging. So I want to lead you to open your Bible in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 19, starting with verse 1 to verse 10. And this is what it says. Jesus entered Jericho and was passing through. A man was there by the name of Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector and was wealthy. He wanted to see who Jesus was, but being a short man, he could not because of the crowd. So he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore fig tree to see him, since Jesus was coming that way. When Jesus reached the spot, he looked up and said to him, "Zacchaeus, come down immediately. I must stay at your house today." So he came down at once and welcomed him gladly. All the people saw this and began to mutter, "He has gone to be the guest of a sinner." But Jesus stood up and said to the Lord, look, here I am, and I gave half of my possessions to the poor. And if I have cheated anyone out of anything, I will pay back 4 times the amount. Jesus said to him, "Today salvation has come to this house, because this man too is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and save what was lost." What a passage. It's very short, but let's talk about that. I mean, Zacchaeus was very wealthy. So the good news is that the news of Jesus Christ and what Jesus has done for us is for all people. So there are some people that says, that the gospel, the good news of Jesus, or religion of itself is just for people that have no hope, or that are crippled, but or that have that need something. But for the rest of us, it's not needed, and that is not true, because we know that Zacchaeus was wealthy, but we know that wealthiness doesn't fill up, doesn't satisfy our souls. Our souls are longing for more than that. But yet, he lived also in a place that was very comfortable. He lived in near Jericho. This town was a different town of Jericho. It was a mile out of the historical Jericho, and it was a very well-known Hellenistic city. It was 17 miles northeast of Jerusalem. It was near the Jordan River, and so it's a place where life was like very, very abundant, where wealthiness was exuberant in that region. And Zacchaeus was the chief tax collector. He made up the rank out of the tax collectors, and he was a very, very wealthy person. But it didn't mean that wealthiness made everything in his life. For some reason, he was trying to see Jesus. We don't know what he was looking for, but he was there looking for Jesus. I mean, sometimes you can say, "Well, but he was wealthy. I am not." Well, if you live in the United States, you are wealthy. Well, how can I say that? Because according to the Global Rich List, the median worldwide income is less than $2,000 per year. And the average of the American household, and I know that we don't live in an area where that is the case, but the average household in America makes more than 30 times the worldwide income. So if you live with above $2,000 per year, you just may be wondering, how is that even possible? Well, I don't know, but we know that the world standards are like about income are that way. So if I made more than that, makes me in a standing position much different. So how is it possible? So if I see a person like Zacchaeus that is feels that is not satisfying, we see so many cases, even people that have everything and feel lonely. I remember quotes from like, for example, Freddie Mercury, that he said, I can have everything but I still feel empty, and I still feel like lonely even when I'm so famous. And you are wondering, what is it? I wonder how does it look like to be wealthy in those terms. But what will it take for us to understand that richness is not the answer for the meaning of life? What will it take for us to avoid the worldly trap that is of the always wanting more? What is it that it makes us get envious when somebody else gets a new toy, or gets a new truck, or gets a new car, or gets whatever, and you are always beating yourself up comparing what you don't have? So what is it that prevents us from where we are at to be able to give thanks for what we already have, when we know the difference in between what we have and what the rest of the world has? Could it be that our sin and my own brokenness is always yelling about being afraid of not having enough? Could it be that I have what I need, but I still feel that it's not enough, and I'm not trusting God to provide what I need? What could it be? Could it be that it seems that you always feel that you have to be so on the verge of keeping an eye on everything, the material in your life, that it prevents you from trusting in Jesus or to be generous? And if you feel that you don't have enough, when will you feel that you have enough? That's a good question. Zacchaeus had it all, but it wasn't fulfilling. So I think that we ought to take note for ourselves about that, and we should also make sure that we take note, because the world around us is definitely looking for have more money and to get more stuff and newer stuff and better stuff, but that is not fulfilling. So we should be on the lookout, because there are doors that God is opening among us, because He is at the end of that passage says what? Jesus said, the Son of Man came to seek and save what was lost. And for some reason we keep believing that there are no other people ready to be saved or to encounter Jesus, which is the same thing. So for some reason we think that, and we think that nobody's listening, but we see cases like Zacchaeus, that he was really curious. He was like listening. He was looking for an opportunity to encounter Jesus. He was curious. He was listening. He was concerned about what people would say about him, and he was self-aware that his height would not cut it to be able to see on top of the other people's heads. So, but Zacchaeus didn't stay in defeat mode. Zacchaeus his hunger was greater than what the people might say about him. He was so used to being despised by others, and he didn't care anymore what other people thought about him. And if he was gonna be looked and ridiculed because he was climbing on the sycamore fig tree. He didn't put his challenges, physical challenges, as an obstacle to not even go and seek Jesus. He cared about encountering Jesus. He did. So we do not know what he was really expecting. We do not know for how long he was waiting in there. We don't know what were his plans were besides climbing that tree, but we know that he was very, very curious and he was seeking. So if you're finding yourself right now that you're empty by the world's never-ending promises or demands on you, if you are finding that this world is always disappointing you because of fame, power, wealth, and possessions were never the answer for your emptiness in your heart. Maybe you are finding that your physical conditions or your challenges that you need to sort that are so big, but still you're like, wondering if you will be able to make it. I want to encourage you to not give up. Please don't give up. Don't think that somebody else will get it and not you. Don't give up. Do not discard the hope that God has planted in you, because even if it's small or really, really small, there is a glimpse of hope, because God has been calling us from the very beginning. Jesus saw Zacchaeus, and we don't know how in the world that he knew that he was Zacchaeus. We can, you can guess that maybe because he was a prominent person, he was known. But Jesus was passing through that zone, so he had a lot of people around him. He was surrounded by others, but he noticed the need, and he noticed his curiosity, his desire, that he was placing his hope and desire to encounter him. And in the same way, Jesus sees you. Jesus knows you by name. Jesus has been seeing you, and he has been calling you. His Spirit has been calling you from in the middle of the things that feels really appealing, life-giving, fulfilling, but you have found that they only carry empty promises, empty costly lures in your life. So today can be a new day, and there's the day that you encounter Jesus, because today is the day that you can realize that there is no food or stuff or hunger in your soul that can be satisfied by anything that the world offers us. There is no need of trying harder, seeking to strive in a world of starving people that are running, competing for what is only an empty bottle of water. Jesus is calling you today. And when he's called you today, it's because he is the living water. He is the bread of life. He is the one who gave you life, and he is the one who sustained you up to today. Even with all your problems, he is the one giving you life. He is the one he sees you where you are, and he calls you by name, not by your sin. He is the one who sees you and calls you, and he's not embarrassed to go to your house, to be with you, and to spend time with you. He is the one calling you to spend time together. I mean, who does that? Who in our world around us stops in his plans just to be with us? Even when people talks garbage about you or says things about you, it can be real or not real. No matter what your condition might be, it's not about denying where you're at. It's all about encountering the one who calls you, that is Jesus Christ. He is the only one who offers you something that you never thought that was even remotely possible to encounter. He is the one who made a way in Zacchaeus' life to encounter real life, and is the one who is offering you the same thing. He is the one who rewards the ones who seeks him. He is the one you were looking for even when you didn't know that you were looking for him, and his name is Jesus. The same Jesus that found Zacchaeus is the same Zacchaeus that is looking for you and calling you by name to encounter him. What happened also is that Zacchaeus encountered Jesus and was radically transformed by Jesus. So how do we know that Zacchaeus was transformed and there was something that happened in his life? He was not the same. His heart and his vision were both changed, was both transformed. He went from not caring about what other people thought about him and the ways to make money and steal money from people, to all of a sudden care more for poor people than for his money. Isn't that a change? All of a sudden he didn't care about poor people before, but all of a sudden he cares about with nobody prompted him into her. What you should do is do this or do that. He was not prompt. Naturally, out of his heart came that I will give half of my possessions to the poor. How much is that? I have no idea. I imagine that it was quite a bit. Now, who does something like that? That only happens to somebody whose heart is so radically transformed that the former things that run or drives his life were no longer powerful, and all of a sudden, out of that, he gives away to take care of the ones who cannot give anything back to him. There is no ROI in the middle. There is no chance to be able to imagine in which way he can climb the ladder or do that to get more possessions. That was not in his horizon. He was looking to honor and to live differently because his life has been changed. Everyone knew the secret of his wealth, and he knew the secret of his wealth as well. He has been stealing from everybody. So in the law of Moses said that if anyone recognize his own sin and confess his sin, for example, if he stole something, he ought to return it with a 20% increase on that. So the 20% of what he stole will be what was required of him. But he didn't pay 20%. He paid 400% of what he took. That is like 20 times what it was required. Again, who makes such a thing like that? Only a person who was radically changed, transformed. Jesus set Zacchaeus free from the bondage of the position where he was at. And it is the same God that has the power to transform my life. So the former pulls and drives in my life are no longer powerful, but I live to honor somebody different, that is Jesus Christ. All of a sudden, those are not the lords of your life, but Jesus is a good Lord over your life and leads you to good places. And Jesus is the same one who set him free and wants to set you free. He's the same one who invites you to be with him. So how does it happen? How does the transformation happen? What were the steps that he went through? Well, I don't really know how is the process, what happens inside of the cocoon of a butterfly. But I know that something ugly as a worm that then becomes a caterpillar, and the caterpillar into a butterfly is the same idea, same process of the things that God does in my heart. I don't know how. On the surface, it seems that nothing is happening, but a lot of things are happening inside of my heart. And when I let God work in my heart, God does the work. So either you can be the one that is seeking, and maybe it's the time for you to respond to his call and to let Jesus work in your life and come to him and say, Lord, I surrender. I want to be more like you. Would you transform me? I don't know how. I don't know what's the process, but I'm here. Would you set me free? And maybe you are one of the ones who were in the crowd, and you were like having all kinds of problems with Jesus going to be with that person. Maybe you want all for you, and you think that there are other people that you don't want next to you because they have so bad much garbage in their lives, and they're sinners and made my life impossible. Maybe you are just like you are curious as well, but letting too much happen in your life. All what we know is that sometimes we can be an obstacle for others to come to Jesus because we have our own excuses, we have our own cliches, we have our own preferred people and not preferred people, and we can be the ones that are around Jesus but not letting Jesus transform us. So I don't want to be that person. I want to be in the lookout for the opportunities that are out there, that God is sending in front of me, and I need to ask, Lord, what are the opportunities? Because I believe that the same gospel, that the same good news that moves Zacchaeus are the same news that is transforming our lives and wants to transform the life of those that are hungry and thirsty and maybe trying to satisfy the longings for something with something else. But somebody has to be there. Somebody has to notice them. Let Jesus be the one leads you to those that are seeking and being curious. Because the purpose of Jesus Christ continues to be to seek and save who was lost. So may we be moved to encounter constantly this good news of Jesus that transformed my life. To love those that before I didn't love. To welcome those that are difficult to be welcomed. To make a space for others. To be on the lookout for those. And for me, to let Jesus continue to transform my life, because there is no only one time that I encounter Jesus and let him transform me, but it's a constant daily encounters with Jesus that moves me to be more and more like him. And if you are right there and wondering if there is hope for you, yes, there is. So the place and the ways in which you let Jesus work is just to say, yes, Jesus, come to my life. Yes, Jesus, come to my house. Yes, Jesus, I want to know you. And when we open our hearts and when we open our lives to Jesus, he does the rest. It's not for us to figure out what are the steps, but for us to follow what Jesus, the prompts and the things that Jesus is doing in our lives, and let him move. So I long to see that in our congregation and in our town. I long to see and seek and those that are lost, and do whatever it takes. Use my resources, use my capabilities, use my time to be able to join Jesus in the same effort of seek and save who is lost. Not because I can change anybody, but to lead them to encounter Jesus, the same one who transformed my life. So would you join me? Would you pray for those that are curious, or those that are encountering that life is always promising things that are not satisfying? And may we all seek jointly those that are lost. May we make our life and purpose as a church to do the same thing, to seek and save who is lost. No matter the consequences, no matter the cost, and no matter how long it takes. Because as long as we are doing what Jesus commanded us to do, and what Jesus has been doing, we're always doing the right thing. Let's do the right thing. Let's open wide the doors for others to come in and to encounter Jesus Christ. May you be blessed. Have a great rest of the week.